Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon X and Y analysis video. Today's video is going to be all about Barbaracle, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Barbaracle is a Rock-Water type Pokemon introduced in Generation 6, and although this typing has been done numerous times before, it should not discourage you from using this guy as it is one powerhouse of a Pokemon. But as far as its abilities are concerned, the first one that it gets is known as Tough Claws, which is an ability that increases the damage of all moves that make contact with the opponent by 20%. And this can be very beneficial on most Barbaracle sets, as you will be able to do more damage than the average Pokemon with your contact moves because of this ability, and that's really nice for Barbaracle to allow it to, just hit things extremely hard. Its next ability, though, is known as Sniper, which is an ability that increases the damage of critical hits when you're able to land them, and that's always really cool. And then its hidden ability is known as Pickpocket, which is an ability similar to Tough Claws in that it activates when you make contact with the opponent, except this time, instead of getting a power boost, Pickpocket will actually steal the item your opponent has, provided that you don't have one. And this actually could be somewhat useful on a Barbaracle set or two, and I will actually get into this a little bit more on the first set that I have for you on this video. But as far as the stats are concerned, Barbaracle has some pretty fantastic defenses, with base 72 HP, 115 defense, and 86 special defense, meaning that overall, Barbaracle is definitely a Pokemon capable of taking hits. And as far as Pokemon that are of the Rock-Water typing, it actually has one of the best defense and special defense that you will find on those types of Pokemon, which is really awesome. But as far as its attacking stats are concerned, Barbaracle also has a really nice base 105 physical attack, which is really good for allowing it to do some really solid physical damage, but unfortunately its special attack is only base 54, so more often than not you will probably be going with a physical set on Barbaracle. And lastly, it has a base 68 speed, which is fairly low in itself. However, Barbaracle is the Pokemon of 6th generation that has access to Shell Smash, which will pretty much remedy this problem entirely, as it will allow you to outspeed a ton of Pokemon after you have successfully set up a Shell Smash. And it's also important to note that as far as the Shell Smashers go, Barbaracle is actually the second fastest out of all of them. The first being Cloyster, which only has base 70 speed, so it's only a base 2 speed difference, which is kind of something interesting to note. But anyways, let's get started with the sets for this video by taking a look at this first one, which is a Shell Smashing set. So on this first set, we are going to begin by giving Barbaracle a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack. However, the item we could either go with Tough Claws or Pickpocket. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into its physical attack, 4 into its special defense, and then 252 EVs into its speed to give it its max physical attack and speed possible. However, the item, we're going to either be going with a White Herb to restore any negative stat drops we receive, specifically those caused by Shell Smash, a Life Orb to increase the damage of all of our attacks, or an Air Balloon to allow us to levitate off the ground, making us immune to the ground-type moves that Barbaracle is normally hit super effectively by, and also potentially to give it an easier time setting up, which could come in handy. But as far as the moves are concerned on this set, the first one we're going to be going with, that I've mentioned a couple times already, is going to be Shell Smash, as it will be boosting our physical attack, special attack, and speed by 2 stages, while also simultaneously lowering our defense and special defense. And then we're going to be going with Razor Shell as our main water-type attack on this set, which is a fantastic move for this Pokemon to run, as it does have a 50% chance to lower your opponent's physical defense, which could then allow you to land a 2-hit KO that normally wouldn't have happened because of that defense drop, which is why, more often than not, I prefer Razor Shell over Waterfall if the Pokemon can learn it. Barbaracle sadly does not learn Waterfall, so Razor Shell is your strongest water-type attack option, and it is also important to keep in mind that this move is boosted by Tough Claws. As for your Rock-type stab, though, you could either go with Stone Edge or Rock Slide, depending on whether you want more power or more accuracy and a chance to flinch in the form of Rock Slide. And because we are boosting on this set with obviously Shell Smash, it could come more in handy to have the more accurate move in Rock Slide, as you're pretty much going to be doing a ton of damage regardless. But if you do think you're going to need that added power, obviously Stone Edge is the way to go. And for the last move slot, there are 3 possible options you could run, the first of which being Cross Chop, which is a really powerful fighting type move that also gets boosted by Tough Claws. You could go with Earthquake to give you some really fantastic coverage overall with your water and rock-type stab, and then you could also potentially go with X-Scissor for some more specific counters that you feel like you might run into, and it is also important to keep in mind that this move is boosted by Tough Claws. Now, the reason some of you might be curious as to why I'm running Pickpocket potentially on this set is because of the fact that with a White Herb and an Air Balloon, Once the effects of these items have been used up, you are now left without an item and could feasibly pickpocket an opponent's item, which could give you something really beneficial like leftovers to increase your survivability, or maybe even a power boosting item like a life orb or something like that from your opponent. So it could be very beneficial to run Pickpocket on the set over Tough Claws, even though Tough Claws does give you a little bit more powerful. But keep in mind that if you do decide to run Rock Slide or Stone Edge and Earthquake as your last attacking option, the only contact move you're using on the set is Razor Shell, so it might be a good idea to even potentially try out Pickpocket to steal something, since really nothing else is going to be boosted by Tough Claws anyway. But I just wanted to leave that option there because I think it's kind of interesting how this Pokemon can make use of this ability, as it's typically not deemed that useful, but on Barbaracle it kind of could be. But obviously Tough Claws is the way to be doing more damage on the set, which is in itself just going to be immensely powerful because of Shell Smashing and Barbaracle's really great physical attack. Up next, I have a more defensive boosting set for Barbaracle to run, so we're going to start this one off by giving it a Careful Nature to increase its special defense and lower its special attack. And for the ability, we're going to be going with Tough Claws. As for the EVs, we're going to almost max its HP with 232 EVs into that. We're going to max its special defense with 252 EVs into that, and then we're going to put the remainder 24 EVs into its speed to give Barbaracle enough speed to outspeed base 70 speed Pokemon that it falls just short of outspeeding. And as for the item, we're going to be going with Leftovers to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But since this is a more defensive boosting set for Barbaracle, the first move we're going to make use of is Substitute to get us behind a protective barrier that will shield us from attacks and statuses, and also give us a much easier time to set up because of this Substitute being up in place of our own self, as the Substitute will obviously take damage before we do. And the boosting move of choice on the set, since this is a more defensive set, is going to be Bulk Up over Shell Smash, which will be increasing our physical attack and physical defense by 1 stage each. And because of Barbaracle's great special defense and also fantastic physical defense, it will be very difficult to break this Pokemon's substitutes after you do have a couple of bulk ups up, which is really important to keep in mind. But also because of the prevalence of Volt Switch in games, it's also important to note that you may have a difficult time using this set because they can just Volt Switch on your sub and bring in something else that could easily take your moves after they have successfully switched out. So that's just something to keep in mind. But after you've bulked up enough and decided that it's time to just start attacking, you're going to be going with your Dual Stab on this set, which is going to be in the form of Razor Shell and either Rock Slide or Stone Edge for your Rock type stab. So overall, this is a more obviously bulkier set that will definitely allow Barbaracle to do some serious damage to your opponents while also being able to take attacks extremely well because of its really great defenses and because of it being able to boost its physical defense for that matter through bulk up. And finally, I have this really awesome choice set for Barbaracle to run. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, and for the ability we're going to be going with Tough Claws. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into its physical attack, 4 into its special defense, and 252 EVs into its speed to give it its max physical attack and speed possible. And for the item, we're going to be either going with a Choice Scarf to increase its speed by 1 stage while locking it into a move, or a Choice Band to increase its physical attack by 1 stage while locking it into a move. But the main purpose behind the moves of the set is to basically potentially cripple something and then set up, possibly, if you decide to use Shell Smash on the set. But the main move, in my opinion, on the set is going to be Switcheroo, as the threat of Shell Smash on Barbaracle is so high that your opponent will more often than not be switching in a wall when they see Barbaracle come in, because they will want to obviously be able to take its attacks after it is boosted with Shell Smash. So if you are able to successfully switch your item with the opponent, your choice item, that wall will now be crippled for the rest of the battle, and also mean that Barbaracle is essentially free to do whatever it wants. Obviously, having the effects of a Choice Scarf or a Choice Band are very beneficial as well, as you won't need to set up in order to use the benefits of these items, but with Switcheroo, you're able to pass off that item and potentially cripple something, which in turn could lead you to the perfect chance to then go for a Shell Smash on the set, as this is one of the possibilities in the third move slot that I listed here. So after you've obviously gotten rid of your choice item, go for Shell Smash and then try and sweep, because some wall will now have been crippled because of Switcheroo. But if you want to just make this an all-out attacking set like most choice sets, you could obviously just go with Cross Chop or Earthquake along with your Dual Stab in Razor Shell and Stone Edge or Rock Slide on your first 2 move slots. So overall, this set could have some really awesome potential in crippling a wall and setting up to allow Barbaracle to have a very easy time with sweeping your opponent's team, or it could just be a really fantastic offensive Pokemon anyway because of its choiced item, allowing it to either be faster or do more damage. But no matter how you use it, this set is probably my favorite one for Barbaracle to run, as it's really interesting as opposed to just the standard Shell Smash set or like a bulk up set that I showed you previously. But anyways, that is it for this video, everybody, so I wanted to thank you all for watching, and I wanted to also invite you all to follow me on Twitch and on Twitter, and to bookmark the database, which has all these movesets as well as all the other movesets in this analysis series, and also very easily copy and pastable into Pokemon Showdown if you enjoy doing that. So the links for all of those things are going to be in the description, as well as the link to the Zat, which is a chat room that you can all go to talk about Pokemon, exchange friend codes, get battles and trades, and all that kind of stuff at zat.com/pokegrounds. But I want to thank you all again for watching, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.